Hey, what's up guys? This is Budget Yugioh here with an updated Ancient Warriors deck profile post Eternity code. So I'm a little late on this one because it took a while for my cards to get here in the mail. But I have a list that works pretty well for what the deck is right now. It's still not going to be a competitive deck profile that's going to win tournaments, but pretty sure you can probably win locals with this pretty easily if your opponents don't really know how to play against you. And there's a lot of little things and tricks that you probably need to know before you can play this deck, because every monster has multiple effects, so you might end up misplaying or forgetting that you can do certain things. And I hope if you guys like Ancient Warriors profiles, be sure to subscribe, because this is one of my favorite decks currently. And I love all the artwork. The lore behind them is pretty cool, and they actually have some very explosive, powerful effects. So I will get into the profile in a second. So with the new support that came out, there's a lot more things you can do, but still going first is not great. So if you want to check out my Ancient Warriors playmat, this is the Ancient Warriors Valiant Jangda. So got this on eBay. It's pretty cool, and I will zoom in just so you guys could see the cards. But yeah, let me get into the profile, explain some of the card choices, and give you suggestions on if you want to make this build a little bit more budget. I am playing some more expensive cards in here because I have them, but they're not essential to the core strategy, so you can easily sub them out. And I'll explain to you what those cards are as we go along. So the first monster that we play, he's the most important Ancient Warrior, and he's the best one. He's good going first and going second, and all of his effects are pretty good. He can't be attacked while you control another Ancient Warrior. Once per turn, you can discard a card from your hand or send from your field to the graveyard a card to search any Ancient Warrior monster from your deck besides himself. And if you trigger an Ancient Warrior monster's effect, after that chain resolves, he can target an opponent's monster and bounce it to the hand. So he can break your opponent's boards, and he can also guarantee that you search for the cards that you need. So if you usually don't know what to do during your turn, you want to get him to your hand as soon as possible. So he's a very good one. He's got pretty good stats, level 4 water. It's all relevant. The second best normal summon is the Ancient Warrior Virtuous Liu Xuan. Now, the thing about him is that if you're trying to go first, he's absolutely terrible because he has no immediate impact. But going second, he's the best. He's one of the best Ancient Warriors because he also has the attack protection, where if you control another Ancient Warrior, you can't attack him. He has a similar effect to the Masterful Sun Mo, except your opponent has to control more monsters than you do. So sometimes if your opponent only has one monster and you have him out, you can't really use him too well without another Ancient Warrior. But he can special any Ancient Warrior from the deck without a restriction, so that's really good because now you have even more access to all your Ancient Warrior cards. Now, one of the strengths of this deck is that it's very consistent because all the cards allow you to see whichever card you want at any time if you're able to search. So, there's definitely times where you can't play through everything your opponent has, but at least you can always have multiple things that can bait out negations. So, cards like him, a couple of the other ones like the Continuous spell that I'll show you guys later. Very good cards. Also, his third effect is that if an Ancient Warrior attacks or is attacked, on attack declaration, you get to draw a card. So this can trigger your other effects that require Ancient Warrior activations, and it can also get you advantage by just attacking, which is pretty cool. I'm playing 2 Ancient Warriors Graceful Jiao Gong. He's okay. He's a little tricky to use correctly, and he's easily disrupted, but he can search for Ancient Warrior's continuous spell or traps. Currently, he's the only way to search it, so I am still playing 2 of them. Usually don't want to go into this, summon this, unless you have no other options, or if you have a Tansu for the additional normal summon. But basically, yeah, he can search for spell or traps, and if another Ancient Warrior is triggered, he can target a monster your opponent controls and negate it. So you might be able to be good against something like if your opponent has a strong lake monster that you need to negate in order to attack over it. So something like that can come up. And one of the newer cards out of Eternity Code is the Ancient Warrior's Ingenious Yugioh. He's a very important addition to the deck. I'm glad the new Ancient Warrior support is super cheap. I think I picked these up for like 10 cents each. This one's really important because it allows you to easily flood the field even when you have just 1 card. Because now Masterful Sunmu becomes a 1.5 card rank 4 toolbox access. But also he allows you to have a, I wouldn't say a great first turn play, but he allows you to put negation on the board. Because when he's added from the deck to the hand by an Ancient Warrior card, you can special summon him straight from the hand. So actually, the cool thing is that even if you're going second and your opponent like negates everything, right? You can summon him, use his effect, add Yugioh, use his effect to special summon, and since you activate his effect, you can trigger Masterful's effect to bounce an opponent's monster, and then you can go into rank 4. So there's a lot of flexibility with that, and he really helps for the playstyle. And he also has 2 negation effects. One of them is that you can send an Ancient Warrior's continuous spell or trap from your side of the field to the graveyard to negate a spell or trap activation. It doesn't destroy the card, but if your opponent is playing like normal spell cards, then in that case it doesn't matter. Just keep that in mind. And then his other negation is kind of bad, to be honest, because it's really hard to set up because you need to have Virtuous Liu Xuan on the field. Something about the lore that he's like his assistant or advisor or something. But yeah, it's kind of tricky to use that, but they are both once per turn. If you ever have the situation where these 2 are on the field and you have 2 Ancient Warrior spell or traps, you can negate 2 things, a spell or trap and a monster effect. But I guarantee you it doesn't happen that often. So yeah, he can do a lot, but he's not like broken because of that restriction. Otherwise, he would be really good. But even now, he's pretty good, I'd say. Now, getting into some of the more beefy Ancient Warriors, I have 3 copies of Loyal Guan Yun. He's personally one of my favorite Ancient Warrior cards because going second, he's the one that you want to see, because he will bait out most negations, at least like monster effect negations. With a 2500 attack body and a Cyber Dragon-like effect, he's pretty threatening. And his effect to summon is not once per turn. So if your opponent has Appaloosa, you try and summon Guan Yun, they say negate. You just bring them back to your hand and activate them again, and they'll be like, what? And then they'll learn their lesson. But his other effect is that you can target a if your opponent controls more monsters than you, you can target one of their monsters and destroy it. He also has the effect where he protects your other Ancient Warriors from being targeted, which is pretty good. If your opponent doesn't read your cards and they try to like imperm your Masterful Sunmu, and then you tell them, hey, you can't target, then they misplayed. So one of my favorite things about him is that he helps break boards, and he forces your opponent's negation sometimes, because not being able to target actually is pretty inconvenient for some decks. Like an Ancient Warrior deck is pretty inconvenient because I would say the weakness of Ancient Warriors is that they really don't have any main deck outs to non-targeting, non-destruction boss monsters. So things like an Avramax is really difficult to get over. But going into the other Ancient Warriors, it's the man Valiant Zhang De, as you can see. I love him so much. I got a playmat based off him. But he's really cool because he's an extender. All you need to do is control 2 or more Ancient Warriors to special summon from your hand, which is really easy to fulfill. And his other effect is that he gains 300 attack for every monster your opponent controls, so you usually want to attack with him first. And also, his third effect is that if your opponent has more monsters than you, you can activate his effect to make him be able to attack monsters twice during the battle phase. Now that doesn't come up very much because you need to you kind of need to have 3 monsters on the board to have them out. And usually you're going to be popping their monsters or removing them with your other Ancient Warrior monsters. But let's say that your monster born him or something, something dumb like that, then you'll be able to get multiple attacks off and you kind of cheese out a board clear that way. But he's pretty cool. I think 2 for now. I mean, I'm playing Desires in this build, so some of my ratios might seem a little excessive to you. But if you have Extravagance, I would definitely cut down some of these Ancient Warriors because with Desires, you kind of want to have at least 1 copy of each of them in your deck. So if you ever need to toolbox into searching something, then that can come up. But one other new Ancient Warriors from the Fire Nation is the fearsome Yugioh. Now he's actually, I think out of all the new ones, he's the most powerful in terms of what he can do for the deck. Because if you want to OTK, he's usually pretty good. He's basically a hand trap, so when one of your Ancient Warriors battles, you can special summon him from your hand and reduce the opponent's battling monster by 1,000 attack. So really good to help your Ancient Warriors get over some things that are like 2,000 to 2,500 attack. And he protects your other Ancient Warriors from being destroyed by battle. So if you're able to summon him on your opponent's like attack declaration, you can kind of like ruin their strategy or attack order. And also, I think his best effect though is that he has like an Unchained Abomination like effect where if one of your opponent's cards are destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target 1 card they control and destroy it. So let's say your opponent blindly attacks into one of your Ancient Warriors thinking that they're going to kill it because it has 500 more attack. Special summon him. Now your opponent, that happens during the damage step, which means they cannot cancel their attack or they can't replay their attack. So that goes through, their monster gets destroyed by battle, and then his effect is going to trigger and pop another monster or spell or trap on the field. So I like what he can do for the deck because he just makes it so you can outplay your opponent. Being level 6 isn't really good because it doesn't help this deck, but the card is really good, I will admit. Now I'm playing 1 Ancient Warriors Ambitious Chaldea. Personally, out of all the Ancient Warriors, I might cut him, but I'm kind of just testing him out for now. He's if you can special summon him from the deck, it's 3,000 attack, Yugioh Guardian, basically. So it's not a bad card. It's very easy to get access to. It's just that it doesn't do as much for your game state as the other cards. But the cool thing is that against certain matchups where targeting or destruction is really prevalent, while you control another Ancient Warrior, he cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects, which is actually a really good protection. And like I said, when he destroys a monster by battle, you can special summon it to your field in defense mode, which, that's a good effect, but since it can't bring back Link monsters, I think that's the worst thing about it. But his normal summoning condition is that you can special summon him when you destroy an opponent's card by sending 1 card you control or in your hand to the graveyard. Now, there's other ways to summon him, like off the continuous spell or trap. So usually you don't have to do that unless you see him in your opening hand. And then some support monsters, I'm playing Pankratops. He actually synergizes really well with the Fire Ancient Warriors because get bonuses when you destroy an opponent's card. Pankratops can do that for you. So there's some synergy there. And then I'm playing one Gamma Seal because, like I said, you want to be able to remove things without targeting or destroying it. And sometimes you'll be able to bounce it back to your hand with some move. So you don't have to play Gamma Seal, but I like having the option just in case. And then the hand traps I'm playing are 3 Ash Blossom. Now, Ash is just a staple, so if you don't have it, you can play other hand traps. I'm just going to show you the imperms. I have the imperms. If you don't have them, you can play other hand traps. Or you can just play, I don't know, whatever other cards you feel would work well. These are not essential, but they just help you be a little bit more competitive with the meta. So let's get into the spells. The best Ancient Warrior spell is the 3 Visits. Now this is basically, during your main phase you summon an Ancient Warrior, you get to search for another Ancient Warrior of a different name from your deck. If this is sent from the field to your graveyard, you get to special summon an Ancient Warrior from your hand. So this helps you to search for what you need, it helps you to extend if you get disrupted. Basically it's perfect for the strategy. I'm playing one of the new continuous spells, the Borrowing of Arrows. This one it's okay, but I wouldn't play at more than 1 because I don't think it's essential. Like, it's nice to have, but it's not something that you rely on. Basically, you can target a monster your opponent controls and 1 Ancient Warrior monster you control, and then you take half of the attack from their monster, which is pretty cool to beat over things, but really what you should be concerned with is playing through negations in a going second deck. So that effect is nice, but this can also, if you control 2 or more Ancient Warriors of different attributes, if this is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add, or you can place another Ancient Warrior continuous spell or trap onto your field. So this is nice to be able to get access to your 3 Visits if you don't have it already. Remember, your Ancient Warriors, a lot of them can send as cost, so you can trigger this off of that, gain additional advantage. I'm not playing the other one because that just gives it's a really bad effect negation. I mean, it's not bad, but it's kind of hard to use. And the attack boost, I find that a lot of the time going for the OTK is less important than trying to break your opponent's board. So just some generic Beast Warrior support that every Ancient Warrior deck should be playing. 3 Tenkies to search for your normal summons. And then 3 Tensus to give you the ability to play through your first normal summon being negated. So, and then these also, once you use their effects, you can just send them as cost to trigger your Ancient Warriors. And then one card that I think is really important, I don't have Extravagance. If I did, I would be playing those, but you know, guys, we're budget Yu-Gi-Oh! We work with what we got. Desires is also a really good card. So if you, let me see. So my ratios are a little higher than what you might play. Like, if you're playing Extravagance, I would probably cut one of these. I would cut one Zhangde, and then might cut one of these, the Zhao Gong. Desires, you want to be able to just see the cards that you need off of these without banishing all of them. Now, you can definitely play without it, but I think it's probably the best fitting draw card that's not Extravagance. And then I'm playing 3 Dark Ruler No More. Now, I understand you don't have it, but these are pretty good because then you can make use, this deck particularly can make use of gaining advantage during the battle phase. So if you have them, play them. If you don't, Forbidden Chalice might be a good alternative, or you can main decks things like Cosmic Cyclone, Twin Twister. I don't know. Dare I say Lightning Storm if you have the money for it? Nah. And then last card is Monster Reborn. So I'm always like back and forth on monster board because this deck has no other recursion from the graveyard. So I think this is pretty good because then, let's say, for example, you can bring back your big guys after your opponent disrupts you. So you try to special summon Guan Yun, they negate and destroy him, he's in the graveyard, you monster board him back and then use his effect to pop. So I like cards that allow you to play through disruption and outplay your opponent. So, you know, make your own choices, I guess. Now, extra deck. This deck doesn't really use the extra deck too much, so play whatever you want. This is basically just a toolbox for to patch up the weaknesses of the deck. So the weakness is spell and trap removal, disruption during your opponent's turn, and what is it? Non-target, non-destruction removal. So I'm just playing things like Nightmare Phoenix for back row, Cerberus to you know, people summoning more synchros and fusions and stuff. Underclock Taker is okay if you need to like OTK a little easier. Borlow Dragon, non-targeting removal. I think that's pretty good, but Link 4 is not easy to make in this deck. I mean, you can easily get 4 monsters in the field, but you usually don't want to link everything off into an extra deck monster unless you have to. So Borlow Dragon is in here just to get out things like Avramax. And then I'm playing rank 4s. So Dweller is good to go into. You clear your opponent's board, you make Dweller. Castel, targeting non-destruction and removal. Baguska, turn 1 play if you have literally nothing else better to do. Dugaris for the versatility to OTK or to get additional resources. Tornado Dragon, back row destruction, and also works during your opponent's turn, so it's good to leave up. I'm playing 1 Tiger King. Now this card is, I don't think I'd summon it too often unless you have not used your Tanky already for the turn, so that you can search for a follow-up normal summon for next turn. So that's probably the time I'd use it. He also has like a Dark Ruler effect, Dark Ruler no more effect, so if your opponent doesn't have quick effect disruption, they're just on 1 monster that can't be destroyed or something, then you can make Tiger Fist. Exciton Knight, just in case you're in a pinch desperation situation. And I'm playing Bahamut Shark and Totally Awesome. You can make this easily if you have access to Tensu. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, the cool thing is that if you have Totally Awesome out, and then you detach one of your Ancient Warriors, you can get that back because you used water, right? And then you would have a follow-up play for next turn. So this deck it doesn't have the best grind game, so you have to really be resourceful about how you use your monsters and try to save plays for next turn if you find that you can't OTK. And then the rank 7s, I'm playing Big Eye. The cool thing is you can go into this easily if you open the Guan Yun, so he can give you an additional way of removing things. And then the Realized Flare Metal, if your opponent's low on life, you can make that and watch them burn themselves to death. So that's it for the deck profile. I'm just really excited for when the Ancient Warriors get the rest of their support. I don't know if Rise of the Duelist is the last of it, but I'm hoping there's more. There is the Link monster will change everything for this deck. Stay tuned for that deck profile in a couple months when that comes out, because it will be definitely worth checking out the deck, seeing what they can do going first, or setting up boards after you break your opponent's board going second. So if you like the Ancient Warriors content, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and leave a comment down in the section below letting me know what tech choices you're playing for your Ancient Warrior deck. I'd love to hear the discussion about what we can do to make this deck as competitive as possible. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.